This beautiful exhibition includes 56 works. They are very colorful. They reflect the theme of the Congress. And let me introduce you to them a little. Let's start with the winner. I will tell you a little about the selection criteria, which Evgenia Mikhailovna Shaburnikova told me about. There were two professional commissions of artists who carefully selected works according to many criteria, and some of the artists were familiar with theosophical themes, while others were not. So their visions could be different, but nevertheless it turned out that they chose the same work, which are the absolute champions, that is, from a huge number of works which were submitted to the contest according to the contest rules. Here there are 56, and the overall winner chosen by the jury members is Olga Drigval from St. Petersburg. And you see 3 of her works. I close my eyes to see better: Oil on Canvas and the work Arm. The third work of this artist, let's go a little further. It is here. It is called Tibet. And you see, very correctly this artist portrayed the state of mind of a Tibetan who actually lost his homeland. And there is a whole story associated with Dalai Lama, with a ruler, her leader, who was forced to wander. And you probably remember how many votes and energy were put in order for this country to gain independence. And this picture just reflects the pain of him and of all Tibetan people for their lost homeland. And so this artist penetrates deeply into the essence, not only by the measures of artistic representation, but also by the synthetic moments that allow her to synthesize this story. All 3 pictures are united by a synthesis approach. I think that if I were a member of the commission, I would also choose these artists. And here are other works that they can look at. The children's one. Here, look, is Bragit Tiger, 9 years old, Yekaterinburg. Here are absolutely fantastic fish that swim around some planet. That is, this near-Earth world that still has property of attracting some entities. Then we can see a picture of Mitrofanova Katerina from Finland. That is, the paintings at the exhibition are not only from Russia, but also from a wide range of foreign countries. You will see paintings for the United States, India and Germany. Therefore, this combination is complex. Here is a mix of styles. You see different images. This is urbanization, this is pressure, and that is, there is absolutely no space for any ecology, for greenery and so on. And the squeezed person, nevertheless, goes in perfect natural forms. That is a birch bark, and you see there is love. It's a dog, it is devotion, and that is such a synthesis. It is very characteristic of the works presented here. And here is a work from Germany by Alexander Pavlenka. And here you can see there is also a mix, a synthesis of worlds. That is, we also see from some views that can be seen in the museum, by the way. In the Voronezh there are beautiful museums that have been preserved since the last centuries. And the views are preserved simply by imprints in the stones. And they are presented here by print and presented in a very restrained colors, not too picturesque by these diagonals, which are coming out of the black square, and they make you think about expanding this space. The next work, Catherine Michelinova, Ego. This is a very synthetic, complex picture. and it just talks about the troubles of civilization. There, that is, you see this mechanization, urbanization that led to the fact that the trees do not even have leaves. That is, everything is destroyed, and even roughly speaking, brains and ears fly out. And they do not even represent ears, but such angels who fly and move in a completely arbitrary manner. And the man himself is, you see, a form, that is operated by some spirits. Let's go further. Here is an interesting work by Timotheva Anastasia from Yekaterinburg, Grain. That is again synthesis. Synthesis is very characteristic for us to understand the task of our Congress. Remember, we call it as a synthesis of just three components: cosmogenesis, anthropogenesis, theogenesis, and all this is in the ring of our knowledge. And here we see in the picture all the elements: fire, earth, air, water. In this synthetic space in the stars, such a synthetic understanding of planetary spirits is characterized. That is, look, here the figure of fire is traced clearly. This is a fiery body, the essence of water, air clouds, and so on. The following work, see such a nice work of 11-year-old Sofia Smirnova, The Universe. It just says that such a young soul understands the universe as its own home. This is a rocket, several planets at once. That is, it is already the next Earth or the next place. But nevertheless, a fir tree is growing, and there are some paths, and again, home breathes from neighboring houses, neighboring fir trees. That is, the ecology is preserved, and there is space. And this job just shocked me. This is 10 years old Bombina Anastasia from the village of Uglovka, Novgorod region. She called her work Through the Prism. Let's see what is amazing about this work. It would seem very simple: wash, pastel, watercolor. But in fact, the concept of the universe is set out here, because we move from this physical world to our center through the heart, through the deep prayer of meditation, and we enter the cosmos, into the very space, the very stars, where the absolute planetary spirits live, and where the future of our entire world is created. And here's the child, who is 10 years old. She considers herself an adult, and she reflected this in her vision. This work is very absolutely amazing. Shevchenko Tatiana, 13 years old, from the city of Shakhty, Rostov region, and it is called Super New Galaxy. And look, how children see the future. These are also flowers. That is, planets and galaxies are flowers for them. This is a native space, but these heads resemble either sunflowers or some microphones. That is what they are used to seeing in their lives. Further, there are several works that reflect such a synthetic information approach to pixel information and to our digital world. This is the work of Anastasia Timotheva from Yekaterinburg, called Voluntary Identification. It is made on canvas, and you see how the real human figure, made in graph, is transformed by the information to flow to other worlds. That is, everything consists of some pixels and some small puzzles that are transformed. And this mainly goes through the brain and through the hands. This work, which is called The Union of the Three Planets, reflects one of the main ideas of the Trinity, to which all theosophy is devoted, and to which the idea of the banner of peace is devoted in general. As you remember, The sign of the banner of peace is the Trinity, 3 scarlet amaranth spheres in a circle of a great sphere, which interprets as past, present and future in the circle of eternity, or a symbol of our Congress, or as put, the Holy Spirit, the Son and God the Father together, or simply just as a family, father, mother and son. That is numerous interpretations, so children draw this symbol. This is a symbol of the future, because Russia will have to sign and ratify the Peace Pact. It's a treaty on the protection of cultural institutions, museums, educational institutes, schools from violence, so that during the war they were not destroyed, so that they kept the treasures of civilizations for the future. And there are many such works at the exhibition that will speak specifically about the sign of the banner of peace. The next work is by Natalia Kim from the United States. You see, we have several of our American friends who are actively involved in these exhibitions. And here she made a digital drawing that is such a digital image, a completely clear depicted goddess. She chose Lakshmi. This is the main female deity in Eastern philosophy. And she depicted her with lotus in her hand, you see, and with a grain in the other hand. That is the symbol of abundance, the symbol of prosperity, against the background of ancient and also solar signs. The center place of exhibition is occupied, as always, by the wonderful works of our beloved Alexei Leonov. These are sculptural compositions of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, Nicholas Roerich, Helena Ivanovna Roerich. They always attract attention. I really like the work of Konkina Maria, Green Tara. That is the work which is done in a very concise form, and such scales of colors are used which are completely characteristic of the painting, well, let's say by Nicholas Roerich. In general, of course, I want to talk about each picture for a long time in detail, because it's like an exit to another world. Children's perception is special. It gives new ideas for creativity. And now I should like to show this part of the exhibition. I'm absolutely delighted with this work. This is also a child of 9 years old, Lubinets Eva, the seat of Shakhty, Rostov region. She did the work The Guardian of the Planets. This girl chose joy. And look, it doesn't have almost any black color. It's a perfect polychromatic scale. And it is quite obvious that this guardian, that is this deity, is in such a cheerful state of mind. And so many techniques are used here, both Mexican, Indians, and modern surrealists. In general, it's wonderful. And I also really like this work that Karina Usmanova from Blagoveshchensk did. She is a needlewoman, and she made such a deity with her hands from the straw. You know, there is a great interest in creativity in just such dolls, especially in home charms, which for Russia, for the ancient Slavs, were very characteristic. And then, after the adoption of Christianity, a mix of this culture turned out, but nevertheless they are alive. This unique work deserves attention. Again, I want to say that I'm just in love with almost everything. But now, let me introduce my work. My work is called Prana. That is, there was a small steamer that transported people from Yalta to Guzov, Livadia and so on. And it was so surprising that how the watercolor spread out in the kitchen, and I was fascinated. And the picture succeeded. They chose this work. I'm very grateful. Thanks. Dear friends, I would like to introduce you to other paintings that have been selected as the best. They are presented here at the Congress site. Let's see what else we can see. First, here's the picture by Michelin Larissa from Belarus. She says that this symbol of the triangle, the eye, is always nourished by the female hypostasis. That is, any force is supported only in duality. And here is this beautiful feminine nature which is portrayed by Larissa. She just symbolizes the light of wisdom, the filling up. Dear friends, of those paintings that they have not yet commented on and that I would like to talk about for hours, I will focus only on some. Here is a picture by Heva. We have already said that it is one of the most colorful, and it is filled with a huge amount of color. The color scheme is completely diverse. The next work is a work from India, from Bangalore, Marilyn Gladys, and she talks about the absolute. The artist depicted such a scheme of her own vision of the absolute in a range of brownish lilac tones. Next, I must say about the work that the children presented. Here, from the city of Shakhty, Dasha Ivanenko, 8 years old, and Igor Vanshura, 8 years old. And see how these pictures are in tune, the day of the universe and the Space Maiden. The two other paintings are Roman Agapov from Tatarstan and Sergei Yatsenko from the United States. You see, they coincide on the subject and speak precisely about the role of a human being, a humanoid in outer space. Well, I will return to my picture. This is the picture Prana, why I was inspired by this idea, because of the feeling here with ether, which then descends into some already more material hypostasis, which manifests itself as reason, as light, will, desires, and leads to concrete actions. This prana is just noticeable. If you look at the edge of the mountain on a sunny summer day, you will see that there is a still second line on the mountain. It is just breathing, it's moving, and the sea is moving too. In general, thank you very much. I hope that this contest will be more and more interesting. A big gratitude to the commission which selected such interesting works. See you soon.